First of all, listen with your spirit. This video did not come to you by coincidence. It is a divine activation for those who have been set apart by God to rule with purpose. If you feel like you were born for something greater, if there is a restlessness in your soul that cries out for more, it is because you have been called to something extraordinary. Subscribe to The Chosen Signal now. Turn on all notifications and share this message with other chosen ones who know deep down that they were not created to survive, but to rule with heavenly riches. The restlessness that burns in your chest is not ego, it is not greed, it is not vanity, it is the mark of the calling. There are souls who are designed to break patterns, to provoke transitions, to manifest kingdoms. And yours is one of them. You feel that you do not belong in this cycle of scarcity, because in fact you do not. God did not form you to survive. He molded you, separated you, positioned you to rule. And not just with words, but with resources, with strategies, with riches that will transform the world around you. What you feel is not an exaggeration. It is a heavenly designation. The world has tried to silence this calling with fear, shame, and religiosity. But heaven shouts, you have been set apart to carry glory and abundance. From the womb, your soul was encoded with the mission to steward wealth with purpose. It's not about having, it's about sustaining. It's not about status, it's about function. You are part of a prophetic generation of rulers, visionaries, multipliers who don't just dream of millions. They manifest billions with divine wisdom. What's inside you is not a wish, it's a deposit. God has placed seeds of ideas, projects, and visions in you that are priceless. And those seeds are about to germinate. You're not being motivated, you're being reminded. Reminded of who you are, reminded of what you've been called to do. And now, heaven awaits only your yes to activate what is already yours. Many have been taught to reject prosperity as if it were a sin. But the truly chosen understand the wealth that comes from heaven is a mission, a responsibility, a field of warfare and influence. God is looking for mature, aligned, purified hearts to entrust riches that will change cities, nations, lineages, and you are among them. The riches that are coming into your life are not to satisfy the ego, but to activate your mission. They are to build healing centers, plant invisible churches, finance, deliverances. Each dollar that will be released will be loaded with eternal purpose, and you will know how to manage it because your soul has already been trained in the invisible. Do you want to know if you were truly chosen for this? Look at your pain. Look at the deserts you've walked through. Look at the cycles of lack, the doors that closed, the promises that seemed delayed. All of this was the test. All of this was the refinement. Because those chosen for spiritual financial greatness are first tested in scarcity, not to be punished, but to be prepared. Pain was the training ground that strengthened your frame to carry billions without becoming corrupt. You didn't go through all that for nothing. Each dark night was a brick in the foundation of a legacy that is now beginning to rise. And no one can stop what God has already marked as yours. Before God releases riches in the natural world, He structures the interior of the one who will carry them. Because billions are not the starting point. They are the reflection of a spiritual structure built in silence. You, the chosen one, spent years being molded in values, in vision, in self-control. While it seemed like nothing was happening, everything was being realigned inside. The apparent delay was, in fact, the foundation of something that cannot be shaken. God does not entrust eternal resources to unstable hearts. And that is why you have gone through losses that healed you, betrayals that refined you, and deserts that forged you. Now the structure is ready, and upon it will come a weight of financial glory that will not be vanity, it will be testimony. Within you is a voice that doesn't just pray, it decrees. A voice that doesn't just desire, It establishes God is activating that voice now, because you are not just called to participate in the world's economy, you are called to influence it. Supernatural financial strategies will be poured out upon you. You will have dreams of business models. You will be drawn to territories that need light, not just profit, because your calling is not just to make money, it is to free systems. You will carry authority in negotiations, wisdom in investments, discernment in moves. And many who lead today will follow you tomorrow because you will speak with the frequency of the kingdom. In the kingdom, faith is more than belief. It is currency. It buys, activates, and releases. Everything you need already exists spiritually, and faith is the key that unlocks it. Faith turns ideas into checks, visions into contracts, promises into property. Faith is a legal decree in the spiritual court, and you, as the chosen one, need to return to using it as a weapon, not a charm. Stop waiting for something external to validate your calling. Start acting like someone who already has it, because in the unseen world, everything is already prepared. All that's left is your position. God doesn't respond to hesitation. He responds to conviction. And the faster you act in faith, the faster the resources will come your way. You are no longer waiting for favor. Favor is waiting for you. There are angels of provision standing by. There are doors that only need your movement. There are connections that will only be activated when you say yes with courage. Heaven has already given order to the resources, but earth needs to hear your voice. It needs to see your steps. You have been praying as one who asks. Now you need to pray as one who governs. Stand up as one who has been authorized. Move as one who has received, because spiritual activation does not depend on feeling, it depends on obedience. And when you move with authority, the reality around you will bend to the mission you carry. How many times have you doubted the greatness of the vision you carry? How many times have you tried to diminish what God has shown you to fit into the comfort of those around you? But today, the Spirit says, it is not an exaggeration, it is prophecy. You have seen the future because you are part of it. The vision that burns within you is a living word that came from heaven and has not yet returned, because it only returns when it is fulfilled. You have seen riches, global projects, gigantic structures, because you were called to manifest them. You are not a lunatic, you are a visionary. And now, as you align yourself, the vision will cease to be a dream and become a testimony. God does not waste resources. He does not send abundance to those who have not yet understood the difference between having and ruling, and that is why He trained you. The time of scarcity taught you value. The time of humiliation taught you honor. The time of darkness taught you vision. Now He knows you can trust Him, because you will not cling to money. You will use money as a tool for the mission. God releases the heavens upon those who build on the ground, and the release that is coming to you is not just yours, it is collective. It will bless your generation, break financial curses in your lineage, open paths for others, because you know money is a bridge, not a throne. Don't expect bright lights or audible voices. What will take you to the billion will be simple, humble, unexpected, an idea, an inspiration, a name, a direction in the spirit that will seem ordinary but will carry divine codes. God hides the extraordinary in the ordinary to protect the sacred from the curious, and you will realize that everything He has always spoken of was already there. It just needed faith to be activated. That old idea, that project you shelved, that vision that made you smile and then doubt, all of this is about to be resurrected with an anointing of expansion. Because you are in a time of accelerated harvest. The wealth God is entrusting to you will not be like that of the wicked, which rises quickly and disappears just as quickly. It will be like a spring of pure water, uninterrupted, growing and blessing, because you will be a channel, not a dam. You will understand that the key to the flow is movement. The more you give, The more you receive, the more you plant, the more you reap. You will be an investor in the kingdom, a financier of destinies, a restorer of lives. And God will ensure that your hands will never be empty, because your heart will never refuse to give. You will be known as someone who prospers without guilt, who grows without arrogance, who expands without corrupting. It's time to change your attitude in the spiritual world. You're not an orphan trying to convince God to bless you. You're an heir. And heirs don't beg, they access. Heaven doesn't see you as a beggar, but as a steward of eternal inheritances. God isn't testing you, He's training you, because heaven has already signed the will, and your name is on it. Every act of faith you take now is like opening spiritual vaults. You're not trying to conquer, you're taking possession of what has already been released. The key is awareness. The moment you understand who you are, the natural world begins to respond to what heaven has already decided. Those chosen for purposeful wealth speak a different language. They don't complain about the crisis. They see it as opportunities for expansion. They don't measure possibilities based on their bank balance, but based on the voice of God. They live in a different spiritual time zone. While the world saves out of fear, they invest out of faith. While others hesitate, they move forward, because they know the language of the kingdom is movement, calculated risk through obedience, boldness guided by revelation. And this language will now be activated in you. You will speak, decide, and move as one who has been anointed to handle figures, territories, and destinies with spiritual responsibility and global impact. To receive billions, your mind needs to be at the level of one who governs. God is breaking, right now, every mentality of scarcity, limitation, and survival. Because you cannot live like a king with the mind of a slave, and He is reprogramming your thoughts with new codes: courage, creativity, discipline, clarity. You will think like a strategist, dream like a builder, and plan like an architect of legacies. The renewal of the mind is the true miracle that precedes multiplication, and you are going through this process now. Your mind will be so aligned with heaven that ideas will flow like prophetic downloads. You will think with wisdom that you have never studied, because it has been released by the Spirit. The time for slowness is over. What is about to happen in your life will not follow natural patterns. God has already accelerated your process. Where you were once ignored, now you will be sought out. Where there were closed doors, invitations will appear. Where there was scarcity, there will be surpluses. Because the ascension of the chosen ones does not follow the world's model. It follows the prophetic clock. And you have been positioned at the center of God's will. Your ascension will be so fast that even you will be silent, but it will not be a surprise to heaven. God has prepared this hour in detail. Everything that has delayed you has served so that no one will steal God's glory when they see your ascension. And it will be irreversible, because it does not come from earth, it comes from the throne. The wealth that will come into your life will be so evident that you will not need to prove anything to anyone. It will not come for show, but for spiritual affirmation. It will be a living language of divine favor, a visible sign of what is possible for those who walk with purpose. People who have mocked your faith will see the fruits that your faithfulness has borne. And more than that, they will be impacted because your prosperity will bring healing, transformation, and compassion. You will not be remembered for what you have, but for what you provoke with what you have. You will not be famous, you will be unmistakable, because there is a difference between those who get rich through the system and those who get rich through the kingdom. And that difference will rest upon you like a prophetic signature. You will not need to run after what is yours. The flow will be released so that you will be pursued by provision, by contracts, by answers. The blessing will reach you. This is written. You will no longer live in fear of the next month, nor in anxiety about the bills. You will be a distributor of financial peace, an activator of rest, because those who govern the riches of heaven do not live in survival mode. They live in multiplication mode. The opportunities that once ran away from you will now run towards you. The favor that seemed scarce will now envelop you like a continuous mist. You will enter places with the peace of someone who already knows. Everything I need is already coming to me. The wealth that comes to you has a name, an address, and a purpose. It is not random, it is strategic. God is about to position you as the answer to social pain, historical wounds, and the cries of forgotten communities. You will not just be a prosperous person, you will be a platform for collective liberation. Schools will be born from you. Projects of dignity will emerge from your leadership. Children will have a different future because of your obedience. You are being prepared to transform regions, restore families, and restructure cities. God has not called you just to be rich. He has called you to be a living answer. And each dollar will be a tool, each door will be a mission, and each achievement an altar. The time for hesitation is over. You have prayed, you have fasted, you have listened. Now it is time to decide. Heaven awaits your yes. The universe is positioned to respond to your movement. You don't need to understand everything. You just need to trust. What God has shown you is real. The word is released. The promise is ready, but activation depends on your decision, not on feelings, not on resources, but on faith. You have been marked, prepared, positioned, and now called. And the question that echoes from the throne is, will you stand up? Will you walk as one who is already an heir? Will you access what is already yours? The earth groans, waiting for the manifestation of the children, and you are one of them. There are hidden riches being released to you, resources that have been held back for generations. Heaven is activating hidden treasures, talents you have not yet used, gifts that were dormant, abilities that are now emerging with supernatural force. And along with these treasures come new strategies, alternative paths, unexpected opportunities. You will be surprised by the way God will connect bridges, accelerate processes, and position you at tables you never imagined sitting at. All this because your inheritance includes not only what is visible, but also what was reserved for a time like this. The time when you would recognize yourself as the rightful heir. What will be released to you carries a weight. It is not to be hoarded, it is to be multiplied. God is not raising up hoarders, He is raising up multipliers. You will be called to invest, to undertake, to expand with heavenly wisdom. Every seed you plant will generate forests of impact. The resource that comes into your hands will be dynamic, alive, fertile. And the more you release, the more will come back to you. Because in the kingdom, prosperity is not measured by what you have, but by what you multiply. You will be known as the one who made life spring up in economic deserts, and many will be inspired by your example of how to govern with faith and responsibility. You were not chosen by accident. Your identity and your destiny are intrinsically connected. You are more than a dreamer. You are a promise maker. You were not called to survive. You were called to dominate with integrity. Every gift you carry, every experience you have lived, every battle you have faced, all of it has shaped you for this mission. Now you can no longer live below your destiny. Your identity is the key that unlocks the doors of purpose. Recognize yourself as God sees you, and the earth will recognize you too. Because when you step into the shoes of an heir, the entire universe conspires to help you manifest what you carry. God is faithful to reward beyond what was planted. You sowed with tears, patience, and obedience. Now you will reap with abundance, honor, and acceleration. The harvest that comes your way is disproportionate to the seed you planted, because God does not give back in equal measure. He always gives back in a multiplied way. You will see doors open that you never expected. You will see favors that you never asked for being released. You will see paths emerging where it seemed impossible, because the God who promised is the God who fulfills. And he fulfills in an extravagant way, so that everyone knows that it was he and only he who signed your story of prosperity and impact. If this word has sparked something in your spirit, know this: you were not set apart just to dream. You were set apart to rule. Subscribe now to the Chosen Signal channel, turn on the notification bell, and share this message with all who have also been called to be a light and impact among the nations. Leave a comment. I have accepted my calling. I am ready to rule with purpose. This is the time for the heirs to manifest themselves. The earth awaits your response.